This is the second video on Santeria. What do you know about it? And we're going to be looking at origins this time. Where did it come from? Okay, now the origins of this magical fortune-telling rites go back to Yoruba-speaking tribes, primarily in West Africa, mainly those found along the Niger River in Nigeria. The 18th, 19th century slave traders that stole the tribes people from West Africa and brought them to the New World. Also, with those people, brought their tribal religions, and which into the New World, they came into the Caribbean area and spread north and south after that point, stretching all the way to Argentina, all the way up through Mexico, and all of the Caribbean islands essentially. And so that in the 18th and 19th century. So when they got there, they found the Roman Catholic Church, which did not necessarily approve of their rites. And so it was that the people that practiced the Yoruba tribe religions, they kind of enfolded what they did into Roman Catholicism. An interesting kind of process. It's called synchronization, and it's been done all the way through history, where you have one set of religious beliefs, and when the people who practice that come in contact with another group of people, sometimes they'll be folded in together. It's not an uncommon phenomenon, as I've said. So that's what happened. The people who practiced the Yoruba religion, they found that the powers that be in that part of the world, the Roman Catholic Church, they did not necessarily approve of the rites. So it kind of went underground. They kind of incorporated a lot of the terminology and rites and practices of the Roman Catholic Church. They embedded, or they got enfolded into one another, so that it wasn't really clear what was going on. So it spread. In Cuba, it became known as Lucumi. In Brazil, either Macumba or Candomblé, and of course Brazil is Portuguese speaking, so it's a little bit different, maybe Candomblé. But Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Trinidad, Mexico became known as Santeria. Of course, Santeria is very clear. That means saints. And it really has to do with saints. What happened, the Yoruba gods got kind of synchronized or mixed into or identified with the saints of the Roman Catholic Church. We'll get into that a little bit more. The magical rites called voodoo are a little bit of an offshoot of Santeria. Haiti was French, a colony of France, whereas the other countries were mostly Spanish colonies. But in French it was a little bit different, so it ended up a little bit different into what we call voodoo or voodoo today. And they're a little bit different kind of religious practices, but essentially based on the same thing. Now, there are differences between the Yoruba religion and Santeria. They changed things a little bit. And so it was that it kind of emerged in those places. In Cuba, I said Lucumi, it's also known as Santeria there, and also Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. It goes down to Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, Panama, really throughout the Hispanic world. So Santeria means saint. The people that practiced the Yoruba religions knew that their masters were not going to appreciate the magical rites, and so they simply folded their magical system into the prevailing worship of the Roman Catholic Church. So again, this is called synchronization, and it just identified the two together, but they were really different. Let me talk just briefly about the Santeria's gods. That system of gods is very complex in the Yoruba religion. There were something around like 600 of them, but that number got trimmed down when it came to the New World to between 20 and 25. I'm not going to read off the names of the various gods. I have them in a paper, an essay, that actually I'm reading from and working off of. That will be in our earthenvesseljournal.net and available soon for looking at. It doesn't cost anything. So the Yoruba gods kind of got folded into the Roman Catholic gods, and they were all given saint names, and they were worshipped on the same days that the saints in the church were worshipped on. These gods had sort of divine and human characteristics all at the same time. It is said that somewhat resembles the mythological system of the Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. There may be some resemblances, but there are also differences. Now, it is said that Santeria is a monotheistic religion because the gods that are worshipped, the Orishas, O-R-I-S-H-A, the Orishas, or the Orishas, they're not really gods like they have a number one god called Olodumare that has characteristics similar to a monotheistic god, transcendent, totally separate, and so on, all powerful. But these Orishas are subservient to the Olodumare, and the Orishas have the power in them. The Ashi, it's either spelled A-S-H-E or A-C-H-E with an accent on the E or the last letter. The Orishas have the power, and essentially they are worshipped to obtain that power. And that's how it works. Sacrifices are made. I'm going to be more explicit in this in videos to come, but that is essentially what it is. These Orishas have raw power that are awe-inspiring and visually evident. And so, but the worship of an Orisha is not an easily done kind of event because they demand strict obedience and total surrender. And given enough time, the demands of the Orisha dominate the life of the practitioner really to the point of obsessive compulsiveness and torture, really. So to the Santerians, the gods or the Orishas are really thought of as children or servants of Olodumare. So the Orishas are not then to be worshipped as gods, but as guardian angels. Now, that's part of the rhetoric of Santeria. Whether that is in fact it, I don't think so. Because I'm going to tell you right now what I think it is. The primary god that is worshipped in Santeria is the devil, and the rest of them, the Orishas, are essentially demonic spirits. And I think that will become very clear as I go along in this process. So, how was it that this Yoruba-based West African religion was able to become enfolded into the New World and the Roman Catholic Church? And that's going to be one of the subjects of the next video. So long.